Okay, great. So I'm only going to talk for a second, but just to introduce Johanna and Satoshi, and it's not 1 a.m. in the morning for them. They're in their own time zone, so it's perfect time zone for them, which is great. But yeah, Viz for Social Good is a community of volunteers to help nonprofits get their message out there. And it's a really interesting group to work with. And the nonprofits are really passionate about the work, and the volunteers who visualize for them are equally as passionate and, you know, kind of dig into the cause as they'll tell you about in just a second. I just have a few links here, just how to get involved, and Satoshi's going to go into this a little bit in his presentation about getting involved and how to look at the project and that sort of thing. But there's 3 ways you can kind of join in and help. You can, you know, kind of follow our projects page from time to time. It has the detailed information about the ongoing projects. You can sign up and be notified if we get a new project. And you can also join our Slack channel, which has lots of really cool information. You can kind of get on there and introduce yourself, you know, talk to other people about the project, about the data and all that sort of stuff. But that's sort of how you could jump in and get involved. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Satoshi for his presentation and to introduce himself and talk about his project, and then Johanna will follow him.
Okay. Hello, everyone. I'm Satoshi Ganeko from Tokyo, Japan. I'm really honored to speak about Viz for Social Good here, and I hope I can tell you the goodness of Viz for Social Good and why I love it. I'll share my screen now. Can you see my screen? Okay.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Oh no. Oh my God. Wait a moment. Change the screen. Yes, now it's working, I think. At first, let me introduce about myself a little bit. I'm working at airline company as a flight operation safety manager, and also as a data analyst. I mainly analysis data recorded by airplanes flying. And I have been using Tableau from 2014 and participating in Viz for Social Good project from 2018. I counted, totally 27 projects I joined. Today, I want to talk about the benefits of participating in Viz for Social Good project. I think there are 3 big benefits. First, we can learn social problems in the world and contribute to improve them. Second, we can improve data visualization and storytelling skills, of course. And third, this is biggest, we can practice to meet clients' requests when we make dashboards. I think these are big benefits. Now, please look the Viz for Social Good project website page. This is a screenshot of Viz for Social Good top page. We can find links to projects. Each project of Viz for Social Good has each project page. This is an example of a project page. We have title here and information about the client organization. Also, there is a project information. It's description about projects. It contains background of problems and what we want to improve and what we should visualize and tell to the people, and more information. Last two are call to action and audience. In Biz for Social Good projects, call to action, we aim and assumed audience of visualizations are clearly defined. It's a big characteristic of Biz for Social Good project. Now I summarized steps to submit Biz for Social Good visualization. First, we check the project web page and check the client organization's website also. And we learn about backgrounds of project, understand what we want to improve. Next, we understand assumed audience and call to action we aim. After that, stand in client organization's position. Put yourself on organization's position and consider what we should and tell. What we should tell through the visualization we make. This is so important, so I colored with red. After these considerations, make a data visualization and also look at other visualizations. These steps give you a lot of learning. And I think these steps are really common with our business. Next, I want to talk about my favorite project. My favorite project is Cloud2Map. Cloud2Map is an organization acting to improve maps in Tanzania to help people. Here is a copy of project page, but I want to explain how Cloud2Map acts quickly. First, remote mappers all over the world map buildings, villages, roads, and other objects into OpenStreetMap from satellite images. OpenStreetMap is one of web map services. Next, mappers in Tanzania identify objects on OpenStreetMap and add their local knowledge using free application to make information on maps rich and precise. Next, other organizations in Tanzania utilize the maps to save people, protect children, especially girls, and improve their lives. Please look my visualizations. Here is my visualization for Cloud2Map Tanzania. In the first part, I focused on showing how volunteers all over the world work and act. Over 16,000 remote mappers from all over the world are mapping buildings, roads, and etc. on OpenStreetMap. Each single edit gathered and maps are improved. Each edit is small, but if it gathered, it becomes bigger. And already over 16,000 volunteers from over 60 countries have been mapping from all over the world. This is the number of edits on OpenStreetMap by year. So far, over 7 million changes have been added on OpenStreetMap. Second part is about local mappers in Tanzania. Over 3,000 mappers in Tanzania are adding their local knowledge to base maps. They are using free applications of mobile phone like this. These numbers are their achievement, and big percentage of clinics in Tanzania and villages in Tanzania are mapped through by this project. third part is their contribution for other organizations. For example, Hopes for Girls and Women Tanzania. Hopes for Girls and Women Tanzania is acting to protect girls from violence in Tanzania. Already over 3,000 girls have been protected through this project. Finally, I put some links for call to action. That's for all about my visualizations. And thank you for listening. And I hope you are interested in Biz for Social Good. Thanks. Goodbye. Hello.
Show my screen as well and show you my favorite project. Okay, let's see. Okay, here it is. Oh, all right. Not sure. Okay, so good afternoon. If you're in it seems my Zoom crashed.
You're back. We can hear you, Johanna.
Oh, I'm back. Okay.
Yeah.
It seems my Zoom almost.
You probably want to try to turn off your camera. Yep.
Yeah, I'll turn off my camera. It seems to be.
All right, much better. I think we lost Johanna.
Okay, I'm back.
Oh, you're back.
The disturbance. My Zoom is always acting up. Okay, here we go. Yeah, so even though you can't see me, but at least you can hear my voice. So I guess that's pretty good enough. So hi, if you haven't known me, I'm Johanna. So I'm currently a data analytics consultant at the data school down under. So here in Sydney, Australia, I'm currently a Tableau Public Ambassador. So Biz for Social Good has been, you could say, it's my very first project that I've ever participated for any Tableau community project. So since I started in around September 2021, so far I've participated in 5 projects. And for all the 5, I presented for 4 projects, and one of them, and another one project that one get featured as Biz of the Day. So when it comes to my favorite project, it's quite hard to actually choose what's my favorite project. I think I understand when people usually ask what's your favorite child, who's your favorite child, and they can't answer. I think that's the same thing with me. So for me, I like all the projects, but it's just that the most memorable one for me would be Sunny Street. So there's a lot of reason for that, but before I go with all the reason, so I'll be explaining a bit. So what Sunny Street is. So Sunny Street is a non-profit which is based in Queensland, Australia. So the thing is, when people usually think about Australia, they usually assume that healthcare is actually accessible to everyone. But it turned out that it's not. And there's still a lot of vulnerable people who still can't really access healthcare. And often also when it comes to healthcare, often people are just focused on consultation, something which is more transactional in nature in a way, rather than building conversation so that they can build the trust. So like what I said, it's my very first project. So I made a lot of mistakes. It's very simple. There's actually a lot of my other visualization which are more beautiful, maybe, which are more technically challenging. But for this one, in terms of the issues, and also because I'm currently based in Australia, so it resonates with me. But for all the projects, what I really love doing actually is the interaction between the volunteers and the nonprofits. it's very fulfilling to see how meaningful the data is when we visualize it and analyze the nonprofits. Because often when it comes to nonprofits, they have a lot of data that you can actually dig into a lot of insights, but then they don't have the capacity to actually look into it and get something. So this is one of the example. So for this one, I was visualizing and analyzing the pattern of the, so they run clinics. So they were trying to analyze how COVID actually affects them and how, and from there, how they can actually gain support and also gain fundraising. So this is quite interesting because it turned out that there are some interesting insight that I could get from here. So it turned out that we could see like nurse practitioner and nursing paramedic. Like before COVID, it was high, but then after COVID, it was really low. And as we can see there, it actually shows that like after the pandemic, there is a shortage of nurses, which is why they really need more nurses and actually more support. So that's one of the example how that nonprofit can actually showcase and visualize their data so that they can use it for when they talk to the general public or even to like the government so that they can gain more support and they can actually help even more people. And another interesting one, which insight which actually would have actually helped them. So when during the requirement in the requirement listing, so that one they were talking about the patterns and they were focusing on that. But when I was looking at the data, there is something which is quite interesting. So I was also looking that they also have data for like the number of operating hours that they actually open, and also the number of patients who are turned away. So from there, I just visualized that it turned out that yes, like Tuesday has the highest number of patients usually. But then when we show the number of patients who are turned away, it turned out that it's always on Wednesday. So this is something that you can only see if you analyze the data really, like really carefully. And most often, if you just have the data but you don't analyze them, most probably you can, most probably they will think that Tuesday is the most crowded, and they will probably add more stuff there. But it turned out that actually Wednesday is the one where they were understaffed, and they were turning away the most patients there. So these are some key points that I actually learned. So because this is my very first project, so this is where the first time I need to think about what I want to include in my visualization. And also need to think about how to convey the questions I'm answering. Although this one is, at the time, my skill was really, it wasn't at the level where I was very early on in my journey. So there I was just focusing on very simple charts, but at the end, how I can still leverage that to still convey a story. And then I also learned a lot when it comes to meeting stakeholder requirements, like what Satoshi-san has mentioned. Because often when it comes to requirement, sometimes, even though there are some description, but there are actually some underlying needs that this nonprofit needs. And sometimes there are things that are in the data that you can actually that can actually be used to help the nonprofits, but they don't specifically ask for that. And then you also learn about the questions that you usually want to ask stakeholders. Sometimes when it comes to like dealing with stakeholders in business, sometimes they're even though they give you a requirement, but then it's quite of an information overload. So sometimes it's very hard for you to actually know certain things. And that's where you want to confirm things, you want to ask some follow-up questions. And that's what I learned from reading other people's questions in slide. Also realize how meaningful data storytelling is, because at the very beginning, when I was presenting the project for the Sunny Street, at that time, I was only just focusing on the numbers and the patterns because I didn't know like what why the reason that pattern actually exists. And then after that, Sonia from Sunny Street was mentioning, like for just one. So like this one, if you see the pattern over here, like this one, the peak patients are always the highest, like near like around 3 months or 2 months after COVID hits. But then it's only suicide prevention or planning, which is like a bit of an anomaly. I'm not on Tableau Public right now, but this is actually November. So it's only the only exception is suicide prevention, where the highest is in November. So it turned out that so Sonia was telling that the reason why that it's the highest at November. So it turned out that because November was very near to Christmas, and people usually, the families usually visit home, they meet together. But then because of the pandemic, and like a lot of these people, they live alone. So and because of that reason, it takes a really big toll on them, which is why it becomes the highest around November. So by this way, we could really see the story. So it's not only about numbers, but it's also about the individual people behind these numbers. So thank you for listening.